Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SKTV for another edition. Welcome, and welcome. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you here today to the show. Welcome and welcome um, to today's edition. Today is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. We are here today with another thought provoking, stimulating conversation, educative and informative. We want to welcome each and every one of you to the show. Welcome to the show for today. Um, Today, at some point, we will have Mr. Sekou Kane joining us. Um, Tavina Cole could join us at some point. But we want to welcome each and every one of you. As you can see, the headline: What's next for the opposition? In as much that there is a lot going on within the opposition community, there has been also some sign of reconciliation and all of that. So let's uh, let's see where this leads. Let's see what happens, and let's see what's going on. But in the meantime, we want to welcome you. Let's share the show. Invite someone to the conversation for today. We want to welcome each and every one of you to today's edition. Um, hmm, as you can see, the topics or the different conversation that we intend to have today, very, very, very thought provoking. Very thought provoking. The different questions we are asking. Um, like I said earlier on, Mr. Kane will be my guest for today. Mr. Kane will be on. He has assured me. I I literally chase him around. Yesterday I had to chase him. Today again, I've been on his back the entire week since he was in Philadelphia. I've been pushing and pressurizing him to come on so we can have this discussion. So welcome to the show, guys. Let's share the show. We want to thank our viewers and our listeners from across the world, across the globe. Those of you watching us from Asia, thank you. Welcome to the show. Those of you watching us from the Americas, welcome to the show. Thank you. Help us share the show. Those of you watching us from Africa, especially Liberia, the motherland, we want to say to you, welcome to the show. Welcome to today's edition. Welcome and welcome. Let's share the show. Let's invite someone. We will be set here momentarily to go with the conversation. We believe now is the time to go with the conversation, so we'll be set and ready to go. Um, we'll bring you other news very, very briefly here. Somebody say, when I talk this weird thing, I shouldn't be laughing. Well, I know I can't help it. I will be smiling when I'm talking very, very serious things. Um, a lot is going on. A lot has been going on. Um, but we are grateful to be here today. Let's share the show in the meantime. Help us to share the show. We're about to talk some. We're about to talk some very interesting things here. So let's share the show, guys. Um, let's invite someone. Let's share the show. I see my man and my brother Momo. Momo, good to see you, Chief. It's been a while. Good to see you. I know I need to pay fine on something. I will pay that fine. I will call you so I can pay the fine. You know that politics can break family bonds and relationship. That one can happen. No politics inside that one. Rosa Parks, welcome to the show. Um, thank you for following SK for sharing the show. Thank you and thank you. Guys, let's share the show. Just give me 1 second. I'll pay you 1 second, guys. 1 second there. While I share the show. Sorry, guys. I had to regulate something here, but let's share the show, guys. Let's share the show, please. Share the show. It's about to get very, very interesting. Um, it's about to get very, very interesting. But let's get to other news. Momo, I will pay you, people. You already know. That one part you know, say you know the thing part that what they call, I don't know, you don't know. I got you. Relax. I got you. You know you be better now. You can't run away from me. Anywhere you go, you can politics, get devour that family thing. But yes, let's share the show, please, guys. Help us share the show as we are getting set here, looking at one or two things, looking at our notes as we get into other news here very, very soon. We'll get into other news. Yes, we are about to get into other news. So let's share the show, please. Somebody want me to laugh. We'll recognize one or two people here before we get into the conversation. Don't worry. We got you. We got you guys. We'll recognize one or two people here before um, we go anywhere with this show. One or two people will be recognized. Um, because the goal here is to have a smooth, um, well-meaning, educative, informative conversation today. Today, we intend to break one or two things down. We intend to have a meaningful but stimulating conversation. So um, we're looking at some of the information for other news. Mm-mm. Well, we will we'll get to a musical break. We'll definitely have the time to get into that. But really quick on some serious note here, ladies and gentlemen, we want to get into other news. In other news, many of you have forgotten, or it seems, because we Liberians, like I've always said, most of us for the most part, we have short attention spans, and this is no disrespect to our people and to us as Liberians. Maybe this is just how we are wired, or we don't focus on one thing for a very long time. Maybe that's just who we are as a people. But I know many of you have forgotten about or have picked up on other issues. You have forgotten about the Bashiru case. I know many of you have forgotten about the case. About the guy who paid P Square, quote unquote, on behalf of the government. The guy who, I don't normally use the word alleged, but I'll have to use the word alleged now going forward because I was cautioned to be using alleged. So we'll go with alleged, who allegedly had a personal relationship, quote unquote, with the Vice President Joy Howard Taylor. Um, you forgot about his case. Well, our friends and our partners have not forgotten about the case, just so you know, because they are not like us Liberians who move from one thing to another. We have been told that evidence are piled up, names have been called, and there are a lot of people involved. And so don't be shocked or surprised when and if the case resurfaces very, 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 very soon. That's for that's one of the things in other news. Um, in other news, these few days, the ANC and Mr. Alexander Cummings had a press conference. But in other news, there are people that are still questioning the entire report, questioning different things. Please, if you have time, go listen to the press conference that was held. And maybe you want to clarify some of your doubts or whatever it is on the report or on these people that did the report. We encourage you to write them. Please, just write them. Say, we heard about some talk that you've been having and we want to question your credential, we want to question your who you guys are and what you do. Please, go ahead and do that. Let's elevate the conversation as Liberians. Let's do it. These facts are available. The people who did the work, they're available. Instead of going in cycles and giving ourselves a hard time. And everybody maybe injecting their personal opinion and people getting vests and people taking sides and people jumping around. It's easy. The people who did what they did, contact them. And then when you contact them, then you come back and say this is what it said or this is why they had to do what they did. That's in other news as well. Well, in other news, as you are already aware, we'll go into it a little deeper. The Liberty Party seem to be signing peace belt. And we'll get into it a little deeper, but I want to recall something here for the record's sake. It was on the same platform, and I still maintain that position, that the road to the presidency 2023 is through the Liberty Party, whether you like it or not. Whether you accept and say there's two different fashions or they're divided or whatever it is, whatever the facts or the evidence might be, it doesn't still change that thought. It does not. And so this brings me to an interesting point, to an important point that we'll discuss also as part of our conversation, as part of the topic here today. We'll be discussing as well today about the Liberty Party. We will dive into it, the conversation today. And if time does not permit us, we will definitely stretch it up to the weekend and we'll move on with this conversation because it's important to understand this conversation. Very, very important. Very important to understand this conversation and to take into consideration what's being said. But let's take a musical break as we share the show. We'll get back so that we can dive into the conversation here. Um, I will play CDC song, The Country Giant. And the reason I will play that is because the noise that is about. You're sorry. You're sorry. I can't help it. I'll play CDC Country Giant song. I will. When we get back, right when we get back, I'll play a short video clip, very short. And I would like you to listen and I will take you not necessarily into history, but what I was told and what history has said. Oh, just before we go to our musical break here, I think uh, our our guest is here. The man I will, Mr. Kenneth.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to Arizona. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be back.
Yes. Greet our people really quick. It's Thursdays. You don't normally show up today. I call you from your business. I say you gotta come. We gotta hear from
No,
you.
no, today we're here. Once again, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. I'm happy to be back. And I want to say a big thank you to all our friends and fans and well wishers in the East Coast. It was great. A lot of people travel, Steve, from Washington, D.C., from Maryland, from New York, some of my friends just to come see me. Can you believe that? I was so humble and excited to see some of those people that we just talk on the phone, just see me on, you know, on the screen, but we have not met, but we met for the first time. I've met a lot of good people. Some of the friends that have been on here for years, but we haven't had the opportunity to see each other in person. So it was great. I'm very excited that we made a trip. And then the wedding it was phenomenal. It was great. It was it was it was epic. It was a royal wedding for real. It was great. I mean, imagine having a wedding for 3 days.
Hmm.
It was great. And I want to say thank you to everybody. We are great to be back. While you were talking about things that you're going to be talking about today, I think we should also incorporate something that is going on, something that we should brace for. Um, as it relates to the CDC, talking about the Coalition for Democratic Change. Their own fight that is coming out is going to be way bigger.
Yes, that's in our talking point, Mr. Kenneth.
It's going to be way bigger than the one within the CPP. But it's great to be here. We'll dive into it and we will know exactly what is in it, and we will open the line at some point so that our people can also chip in and tell us what they think about what to expect. But I mean, it's good to be here. I'm here and ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is SKTV. Please be reminded that if for time's sake this conversation does not end, Saturday we intend to resume this conversation. We will not relent. We will discuss these issues and these topics that are critically important, not only to our country, but to the upcoming election 2023, because this is all the stage being set for this. But we want to welcome Mr. Kenneth. Mr. Kenneth, thank you so much. Mr. Kenneth will be our special guest today. Yesterday, I went to his house and I told him, I even went there, let me tell you the secret. I used ball peanut to bribe him to come on the show.
Oh. Don't tell the secret, boy.
Yeah, no, I'll take it back. But I bribed him yesterday.
Because so many people were there before they start bringing ball peanut to my house.
Oh, cool.
Because that one, you give me that one and you get me.
I said, Mr. Kenneth,
especially when I'm eating a ball peanut with hachai, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yesterday we had a good time. Mr. Kenneth said, well, we'll look at his schedule and he will see if he can be. Today he's here. Thank you so much for being on. But let's get to the musical break really quick while we share the show. Please help us share the show. And once we get back, we'll get straight into the conversation because this is important. We'll play Country Giant. We haven't played our...
Before I can tell you, I already shared the show to the 100 plus group I'm in. You know, I always do that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me
I mean, plus 100 group plus. So I already shared the show, but I will still try to share again.
Okay, cool. Let me share really quick. We'll play our song, the Country Giant. No copyright to this song.
That's fine. The Country Giant.
Amanda, Maipuye, Iliberia, Maipuye, Jovia, Deble.
Trigger.
Aha, y'all on the road, the Country Giant ready to take over.
Like it.
Y'all on the road, Papa come again. Y'all on the road, Papa Georgie come again. Y'all on the road, Mama Joe come again. Rossi, Tisha Kami Egi, Ale wo Country Giant, Kami so better move, I say you're better move, you is about to get away, pulling back to get away, we Kami Egi, who wanna Rossi, Tisha Kami Egi, young who wanna Roger, we are Kami Egi, who wanna Mama Joe, Kami Egi. Open the road, city, she kami egi. Dale ho Country Giant, kami so. Better move on the road. Say your better move your road. Take it away. Better get away. We kami egi. We for the win the scheme. We kami egi. Coalition for democratic change. Dale ho Country champion and coming so. You better move on the road. I say you better move your road. You be Paris and get away. Better get away. Yen say I'm on bo. I say I come at Deble, Mosico corridor. Yen say I'm on bo. I say I come. Tisha shake your body, Tisha shake your body, why don't you shake your body, Tisha shake your body, Acha le oh, see you le oh, Acha le oh, see you le oh, say, Acha le oh, say, we'll celebrate. I wear Mosico corridor. Today is I wanna go there. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. It's a beautiful day. We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate. Déjà bientôt ready. We'll celebrate. It's a bonne day, your moment. We'll celebrate. You be brothers in your way. We'll celebrate. Nothing you can tell us now. We'll celebrate. Nothing you get to tell us now. We'll celebrate. We are inside the breeze. Mama, you are inside the breeze.
Brothers International, y'all.
We didn't win a race.
CDC.
We didn't win a race. Everybody look at this. We didn't win a race.
Y'all moving on the road because we coming in with four. Kakabella, Jella, Wapi. We coming there, y'all defeated. Big politicians, we putting y'all on the ground. CDC, Fimi, take it. We party, y'all can see it. John Mane, we are. Joe, Hawa, Taylor. Echo Brothers, huh? We the one that Country Giant. Y'all know we the lion. We all lion straight for Giant. Go save the people there from the hands of the wicked one. Dakim and Fuha. So this time they gotta get away. But we are Popo. That's Stevie Pape supposed to Popo. Enter Joe Popo. I'm picking like that's supposed to Popo. They call our heavyweight. That we the champion team. Peace where we remain. International we do be. Sing with me, say Acha le oh. See oh le oh. Acha le oh. See oh le oh. Power to the people, putting bad men and do evil. They say the people why I'm putting them in the spot. They get a big enough to see rapping get rap the king. Gotta get away, and if the body in your space. Like Caraco with plugging, CDC now take it. DC, CDC, we the champion team. Boom,
You Jezo, ruling party, you're in trouble. Come on, y'all move on the road. CDC coming in with four. We not I'm taking it straight for Joe. We body out to the chicken crow. AFC say I win the team, but who about more than win the team? Now we the champion team, so for the win the game. AFC say I turn giant, but win the lion from Zion. Now we the whole country giant, we eat again and we eating Kayan. So if you're what you be people, you'll be making butt. AFC will not summon sir. If you're in more road, I keep with pour in your mouth. Ruling by the jelly, voila, every one of y'all making paka. You guys see we take over, so you're coming in with power. We don't have for making falls, all we offer are making love. All the other party then going straight down to the doors. See, we standing tall, observing and watching y'all. Y'all think that I'm thinking team, to be cheating the winning team. This time we too aware, so we changing the referee. This time we too aware, so we changing the referee. Y'all wanna roll beef, Papa come here again. Y'all wanna roll Papa Georgie come here again. Y'all wanna roll Mama Joe come here again. Who wanna roll DJ come here again. Now the whole country giant coming so better move your better move your you kiss about to get away. You sleeping for the get away. We come here again. Who wanna roll CTC come here again. Y'all who wanna roll job we are coming again. Who wanna roll Mama Joe come here again. Up in the road CTC come here again. Now the whole country giant coming so better move say your better move your job we are coming home. Better get away. Amanda Abuelo, Amanda Abuelo, my pouye Liberia, my Jovia.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it there. We'll get straight into the conversation here with Mr. Sekou Kane, who is our guest today on this Thursday edition. Before we get into the conversation really quick, I wanted to remind all of you that you're watching us here on SKTV live, and today, as always, is one of the days we air. Please share the show while you are here with us. Invite someone, because this is critically important. Mr. Kane, I want to ask you a general question.
Sure.
Before I read something from both political leader within the Liberty Party. Our conversation today will kick off on the Liberty Party. What do you make of the peace or reconciliation of Liberty Party from a general standpoint? What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, this is something that we have talked about in the past. If you can remember, I personally talked about this, and I made it very clear that I'm going to be reaching out to both leaders within the Liberty Party, specifically Chairman Musa Belete and the political leader Nyomli Kanga Lauren, the senator. And we have been trying our best from the onset, both in public and in private. And I made it very clear here that it doesn't make sense for anyone to break your home for other people. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. I believe it is overdue. This is something we talked about before. And these things, Steve, when they happen, people turn out to learn from them. But it's very important when it happens, you learn from it. If the Liberty Party is successful in making truce among themselves, guess what? What become of you that destroy relationship, friendship, because of politics? What becomes of you? What become of you that really went extra miles to insult Yombly? What become of you that went extra mile to insult Musa Ability, calling him names? That's why people should learn that politics is not stable. Politics is not static. Politicians as a whole, they have no permanent friends. But they do have permanent interest. So regardless of what you do or say, always know that politics is politics. It's not religion. It's not family. I've always told you that. I say always walk on the fine line. Tell the truth, but don't take anything personal. So overall, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's the right step in the right direction.
It's the right step in the right direction. The words of Mr. Sekou Kane. Folks, like we said earlier, if we don't end this conversation because of time today, rest assured that we'll push this conversation on Saturday because there are a lot of things that we need to talk about concerning the Liberty Party and other parties or the CDC. But let me read something that 2 days ago, Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence posted on her official page. And I'll also read what Chairman Musa Ability posted as well yesterday. Let me read quick something here from that. I think it was a beautiful piece. I even commented on it for the record and said, now, this is leadership. But here is a quote that caught my attention from there. Quote, as political leader of our party, I want to assure all our partisans that Liberty Party will heal and smile again. I shall work overtime to reconcile our great party. At times, conflict do present a learning opportunity. I'm sure all sides to this conflict. I'm sure all sides to this conflict.
Guess what? Just a second. I left Hatay in the microwave. It's kind of overheating right now. Let me get.
So, listen to this, guys. I shall work overtime to reconcile our great party. At times, conflicts do present a learning opportunity. I'm sure all sides of this conflict have learned some lessons. It's only in unity that we're strong. Our mantra, together we can do better, has become more meaningful and inspiring. These are the words of Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence that she posted on her official page. Let me read something to you from Chairman Musa Ability, also from what he posted, a communication from his official Facebook page as well. It's important to balance this to keep it in context here. Let me go down. I read Chairman Musa Ability's piece. I think it's beautiful as well. But let's read what Chairman Musa Ability said. A piece. Quote, however, it is clear, at least to me, that no one can seek to reconcile others if one is perceived to hold competing interests in a position sought by the others. It is therefore my considered decision that I, Musa Hassan Bilede, will not be seeking the presidency, nor will I seek all except the offer of running mate to any of the candidates within the opposition CPP. I intend to play a meaningful role in the 2023 elections, but not one which will seem divisive to the opposition community. Mr. Kane, here is a bigger question I want to ask you. And I think we will spend some time. And this question, to be honest with you, I'd like for us to please address this question from a CDC standpoint and from an opposition standpoint. So here's the question.
Okay.
What does this reconciliation within the Unity Party means for
Liberty
both?
Party, you mean?
Within the Liberty Party means for both the opposition and the CDC. What does this reconciliation mean? So let's attack the opposition first, then we'll come to the CDC. What does it mean for the opposition?
What it means, first of all, it means a lot. But, in conflict resolution, before the parties can come out and make these comments, I believe the work is already done in the back. Because, without making some effort behind the scene to come and publicly present some semblance of reconciliation, will make it to look very stupid if you're having work in the back, because the expectation will grow. You saw the level of the reaction. The post by Senator Nyambly, you saw how many people reacted to that. The comment, the commendation. So before you can do that, you must have somehow, some ways, reach to some agreement. Beyond that, listen to Musa Belete saying that I do not intend to run for presidency, nor do I want to be a running mate to any of the candidates. That particular line is the straw that broke the camel back. We said it before that Nyambly and the Liberty Party should have thrown their heart for the presidency when the candidacy for senatorship was in contention within the CPP. We said the right thing to do, the rightful thing that they should have done is to say we are running. Whether it's their political leader, whether it's anybody from the Liberty Party, but specifically, I will have said the political leader say I'm running. Both Ambassador Boakai and Cummings will have taken a pause. Say, well, now we have 3 people now in the risk. Nobody should be looking at you as a contender for vice presidency. If you supposed to be the second bigger party within the coalition, you should be running for president. That way, even if you want to be vice president, you will be negotiating from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness, wherein you have to compromise your dignity to the extent where you compromise the integrity of your party. So, what it means, it might be too late, but it will have an impact. In a sense, let me say this to you. And some people will be shocked if I say this. But what I'm saying, it seems like both Musa Belete and Senator Nyambly Kanga Lawrence, in as much as everybody will appreciate them to have peace among themselves, but it seems like none of them could have their way to where they went. When you break your home for somebody, for other people, they will make the decision for you because you do not have a constituency any longer. You are broken apart. You have no power. You have no strength. You will be at the mercy of the people that you're going to follow. They will make the decision for you. Nyambly, on one hand, if at all, she followed the other side because she wanted to be vice president. That quest to be vice president is in limbo. It's not clear that she will get that. Similarly, if Musa Bility intention to go the other side was to be vice president to Cummings, that also it's not clear. So if they're going to break their homes for something that seems to be out of reach, it's about time to think again. You say, well, we ourselves supposed to be something that we are following. Well, follow people when we also can be this. So what I'm trying to say here, Steve, is that if Musa Bility or Yombli Kanga Lawrence, either one of them, if they were going to see clear path of becoming vice president for one or the other, trust me, there will be no peace among them. There were going to be no peace. But it seems like Yombli himself have seen the fact that Benina Ure and other people within the biker circle, Yombli Manas found her way to be the vice president there. And if it were happening, there will be a huge fight, great contention within their circle. Can you imagine you being a political leader for the second, quote unquote, the second biggest party within the coalition? You are there begging for vice presidency. Begging, I'm not saying like literally begging, but that's what you're fighting for. And people are fighting you for it. When in fact, you're supposed to be running for president. As a matter of fact, if you look at Yombli for her age, her experience, the position she has held in government, and you look at Joseph Nyeman Boakai, no disrespect to the woman, who do you see the future of the country in between the two of them? Who has the potential for growth? On the other hand, Musa Bility, even if Musa Bility ready today, say he won't be president, I'm not going to say he's going to win, but you got huge constituents that can follow him. He has the finance, pretty much. So both of them combined in one party, that's a big one. But yet, they broke their home to follow Boakai and Cummings. And in the end, I know some people may not like me to say this, but I just have to say it. SKTV, we don't have friends. Our whole thing is about Liberia. So we say the truth even if it hurts anybody. For Senator Yombli Kangalo and the Liberty Party to fail to contest for the standard bearership of the CPP, that's what gets us where we are right now. So, Steve, when you ask me what it means, it's good. It may seem too little, too late, but sometimes our people say it's better late than never. It's always good to make peace. The outcome, why it could bring, I don't know. Because the damage is very severe. The damage is huge. Because there are people, some of their supporters, some of their cronies, trust me, they went extra miles. They could reconcile among themselves, the top people, but there are a lot of bad bloods. I don't know how they're going to clean it up between now and 2023. But like I said, it's always good to make peace. Peace is the best thing ever. So, yeah, I think it's good for them. I don't know what it will bring later.
So what does it mean for the CDC? Now that you've talked about the opposition, what does it mean for the CDC in context? This particular reconciliation, what does it mean for the CDC? How does it impact the CDC?
Like CDC, for the any sound of peace or reconciliation, any semblance of forward moving of the opposition, it's not good for the ruling party. Because I've said this before, the CDC government, both those in leadership and those that are supporting them, they have failed the Liberian people. Not only that they have failed, but they have paid little attention to what they were elected for and impact squarely on trying to destroy the opposition, trying to put the opposition at each other. So if there's anything like reconciliation within the opposition, whether from individual parties within the opposition or collective peace or reconciliation within the opposition, it's not good for the CDC. CDC has her own problem. So they were jubilating, they were dancing because the Liberian people's hope and aspiration to say CPP will replace the CDC is dying if it's not dead. 2020, people thought CPP would replace the CDC. But then when the Liberian people saw them fighting among themselves endlessly, people took a step back and said, well, are these people really the alternative to the CDC? So people have second thought. But in the form of reconciliation, of peacemaking within the opposition, that's not good for the CDC, because you know what? A united opposition in Liberia, it doesn't matter when and how, but a united opposition can crush the CDC anytime, because the CDC government, instead of doing what they were elected to do, they are not doing that. Their only hope is to see the opposition are discombobulated, are disorganized, are fighting among themselves. But when the Liberian people see that the opposition are in this for good, they are reconciling, they are making progress. Trust me, the Liberian people can easily gravitate towards the opposition that the government, Liberian, African as a whole, or human being as a whole. We always like change. We always like new things. That was the hope. And our hope was somehow stalled when they started fighting among themselves. And the CPP fight started from the Liberty Party. So if there's a peace in the Liberty Party, that peace could be extended to the CPP in general. And if that happened, whether or not one party, decide not to come back or come, either way, as long as there is a peace or some form of reconciliation within the opposition, that would be very much detrimental to the CPP.
So I want to bring this back home a little bit, because again, we might talk about some of these things on Saturday on the radio, but I want to bring this back home. I want to stay, first of all, I don't want to dive into the CPP part of it here, but I want to restrict this to Senator Yomlikan Lawrence's chance, Musa Biliz's chance, and the CPP. So does it mean that the CPP is still alive, as opposed to what is being propagated or what is being said in public, that the CPP is dead, let's move on, and there's nothing such as CPP. Does this reconciliation reinforces, rejuvenates, and reestablishes the existence of the CPP that we SKTV have always said that the CPP is still alive? What do you say, Mr. Kane?
Yes, the CPP is still alive, and this will rejuvenate the spirit of the CPP. First of all, if any background discussion would to reconcile the Liberty Party, they were divided because of the CPP. And Musa Ability comments on what Yombly wrote, it seems very clear that even if the CPP is to get back together, even though we knew the CPP stayed there because Liberty Party did not leave the CPP, ANC did not leave the CPP, I believe legally none of the party even left the CPP. All these things happened because of infighting. So it seems like not only the CPP is still alive, but the possibility of the CPP coming together is very high. And if that happens, the idea of Yombly becoming a standard bearer like we have always advocated, or even the chances of becoming like a de facto vice presidential candidate. When I say de facto, it means that whether the CPP standard bearer stays with, it goes to Boakai or Cummins, because we know very well Cummins is not going to be vice president for Boakai. We know very well Boakai is not going to be vice president for Cummins. So automatically, if you have three major parties, because we have the ALP, that is Mr. Benina Ure and his family, even though we know they do not have a party, but they register as a party. But we have three major parties that are considered parties in Liberia. So if Boakai or Cummins becomes the standard bearer of the CPP, automatically Yombly will become vice president. Because why? Musa Ability just told you. So if anything happens for their party, he good.
So I want to stick with a Yombly piece, because we come to the CPP at large. I know you hit on that a little bit, but I want to come back to the thing that you just said about Senator Yombly Kanga's her chances. First of all, I 100% agree with you, and I say this. We've said this in public and in private, that Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence should have never come to the table without leverage. She should have thrown her hat in the race to run.
And guess what? Before you even end your comment, guess what?
What?
You know who is more worried?
Who?
About this piece?
Who?
Not the CDC, not the ALP. It is the Unity Party that is worried. Because the survival of the Unity Party lies squarely on the divided Liberty Party.
We'll get to that point. But I want to get it. I beg you. I want to zoom in on this Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence's chances of becoming vice president.
Okay.
And I agree with you that considering Chairman Musa Ability has taken off all doubts and all clouds that he wants to be he wants to be standard bearer, or he even wants to be vice standard bearer. That's emphatically clear. So anyone that comes out and say, what's about the MOU that he and Kumi signed? He's clarified that he's not interested in those positions. So we know for a fact now. But let's move forward to the CPP as it is now, the two parties. I would have to also agree with you that from a de facto standpoint, if Senator Yumbi Kanga Lawrence comes back to the CPP, she was the only person in all actuality and others that left the CPP. The Liberty Party did not. Coming back to the CPP puts the Liberty Party and the ANC as the only two groups that might be fighting for the Senate bearership. Let's do it this way. Let's keep it this way until we can bring the rest of the group. But then, here's my question to you. If it still stands wherein the Liberty Party Executive Committee, and I stand to be corrected, have endorsed Mr. Cummings as the leader for the CPP. We're keeping all factor constant here. Now, the question now, when you said she becomes the de facto leader for the party, for the de facto VP or running mate to Mr. Cummings. Isn't this the same thing that maybe she was chasing on the other side?
Yeah. So
What does that mean?
So yes. So let me say this. You know, Senator Yumbi Kanga Lawrence and the Liberty Party, trust me, and mark this date. Any more reconciliation, if this reconciliation is to succeed, the Liberty Party, not only they will remain within the CPP, but guess what? They will contest for the standard bearership.
Say it again. Repeat what you just said.
If at all this reconciliation holds and they move forward with this reconciliation and the Liberty Party remains within the CPP, the Liberty Party will contest for the standard bearership of the CPP.
Brilliant. And Mr. Khaled, that's a good point. So this moves me back now.
Because why? And let me tell you why. Liberty Party, or United Liberty Party, was considered as one of the most reputable, forceful party, given the caliber of people within the Liberty Party recently. So Liberty Party underestimated their own strength and the leverage. They instead jump into infighting, thereby breaking their home for other people. Talking about the ANC and the Unity Party. And if they go and agree, as like I told you before, there is behind the scene talking. And if they agree, that agreement will be based on what? Let me tell you this. Yumbi did not verbally, at least to my knowledge, did not verbally say, I'm supporting Joseph Boakai. Darrell Dillon did not say on paper, he said on this platform that I'm leaning towards Boakai. Leaning does not mean you're there. You're considering doing that. That means your one foot is in or your one foot is halfway in. You can pull it back. You can put it back in. So in this regard, Liberty Party and the ANC and the Unity Party will be in contention for the senatorship. And guess what? If Boakai and the Unity Party decide to remain where they are, because Boakai said all parties have agreed, to stay out of this, Liberty Party. If at all Boakai now decides to say, you know what, Unity Party is no longer going to be in the CPP, guess what's going to happen? Both the Liberty Party, just mark this one, both the Liberty Party and the ANC they will withdraw their endorsement of Cummings. They will use party reconciliation. They will use, we want to get our house in order. They will say decision was taken when we have problem within our party. Now that we have reconciled, the party will get together and Liberty Party and ANC will contest for the standard bearership. And guess what? Guess what? It might end up where we were 3 months ago. At the end of the day, if it's going to be Une Liberty Party and the ANC contesting for the standard bearership, and Cummings ends up being the nominee, automatically Liberty Party will provide the vice president.
Okay.
So it will go back the same place where we were. But the other thing, and let me tell you one of the reasons why I said the Unity Party is worried. I have to clarify that. The reason is that Yombly supposed to be a big addition. In fact, the face of Boakai's campaign, if Yombly was going to be, his vice president. But the fact that Yombly is not seeing her way there, giving all those problems and insult, disrespect that are coming from the Ure and the other camp that want to be the vice president for Boakai, this will in fact benefit the ANC. Guess why we're going to benefit the ANC? ANC was already somehow slow. They were dragging their feet in making Musa Ability vice president. I'm saying that because of their inability to sign the MOU. So let's say Musa Ability withdraw his support from Cummings. Then Boak and then Yombly withdraw her whatever support from Boakai. Who got more to lose? It seems, if at all the Liberty Party reconcile, trust me, they will stay in the CPP and they will contest for the standard bearership. Either way, however it goes, both the ANC and the Liberty Party, they will remain within the CPP and they will contest for the presidency, regardless of the outcome of that contest for the presidency or the standard bearership.
Okay, well,
so the worry right now is the Unity Party, and then in the end, Benina Ure's party becomes very much irrelevant in the process.
So then this moves me to the next talking point here, because I don't, in my honest view, these are some of the things we said from day one, but people classified us as Cummings people or 1 minute with Liberty Party people, another minute we're bought by CDC. We said some of these things from day one. Now here's my concern on the other side for the Unity Party and the ALP. The fact that they were the fact that the ALP was the first that walked away from the CPP illegally. I think the Unity Party followed after. Don't you think it is fair? We got to talk so and we'll talk so. Don't you think it is fair that Beneda Ure be given the opportunity to run as VP with Boakai? That would tussle. Beneda Ure to suffer. What do you say?
Well, here's the thing. Before I even answer that your concern, let me say this. Because like you said, we talk so, you talk so. We never know. This, or because right now, Unity Party people are worried if like the Unity Party people are very much worried. I know very well that they are worried. And the worry is that if the Liberty Party reconcile whether or not, that will create a problem for Nyombli and Dillon support for Boakai.
Right.
That's the worry they have. Boakai, Dillon and Nyombli normally never said that anywhere, that she's going to support either person. Une Dillon said on this platform that he's leaning towards Boakai. So, let's assume if the Unity Party, if the Liberty Party reconciliation based on their backdoor discussion, if they decide, okay, Musa Ability will say, okay, let's say Musa Ability say, well, you know what? Since he's now finding his way with Cummings to be vice president, and since Liberty Party won the presidency through vice presidency, if they convince Musa Ability to say, well, let's come together, through Boakai, we will have the vice presidency, and then maybe 2 years later, Boakai will, if you win the presidency, Boakai will resign, and then automatically Liberty Party will get the presidency. If they were able to convince Musa Ability and other people, because Musa Ability is not alone, all the decisions taken by the executive committee was not done by Musa Ability as an individual. Assuming that happens, that means if Musa Ability accepts to say, you know what, I can't get my way with Cummings, and we're getting our way with Boakai for Nyombli to be the vice president, then rather go there than losing both, than losing all. Musa Ability, the Liberty Party could end up going with what's his name? With Boakai. But the possibility of that is a little bit slim. And the reason is simple. Because Boakai said they are not part of the CPP.
Exactly. That was going to be my point.
And the Liberty Party is still part of the CPP.
Right.
So it was seems very, very, very awkward for Liberty Party to say, okay, now that we have united, now we are removing ourselves from the CPP. People will look at it, Liberian people will look at it as a bunch of gravy seekers. That they have no sense of direction. That they're just in a chasing position. Nothing for the Liberian people. So they got to walk on the fine line. They got to be very, very careful in making the decision. So if you ask me about whether or not Benina Ure deserve to be something, let me tell you this. In as much as I believe Benina Ure was inserted in the CPP to destroy the CPP by the CDC government, in as much as I believe that, but from the get-go, Benina Ure was the one that came out to say that Joseph Nima Boakai is the most qualified person, the most educated person, the most experienced person. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
The most qualified, the most experienced, the most qualified, the most experienced, the most educated person within the CPP that deserved to be president. It was
Right.
Benny Ayure that said that. Benny Ayure compromised his own integrity as chairman of the CPP, funding chairman of the CPP, and took side. And he did that for two reasons. He wants to be vice president, or if that can happen, you got to make sure the CPP cannot win. But what we know for sure, Benny Ayure did a lot to make sure that Boakai becomes the nominee of the CPP. And he was doing it because he wanted to be the vice president. So if they're going to take, and we don't know, not only that Benny Ayure verbally supported Boakai, but for what we heard, he did not only verbally support him, he put cash behind it. We know Boakai is broke. We know Boakai, he said that he got a loan from the bank for his upkeeping to survive. We know when he was sick, we have to give him money, even though we saw Costa and other guys when they raised 2,500 United States dollars to give it back to Boakai. He received that money to pay George Weah back. That was a clear message to tell the Liberian people in the world that the ambassador, the former vice president, is broke. So everything that they were doing, we learned it was financed by Benny Ayure. And the mouthpiece of Benny Ayure that gave life, according to Costa himself, he gave life to the presidential ambition of Joseph Numa Boakai.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that for what? To make sure Benny Ayure is vice president. So if they invested all those time, energy, money in themselves simply to make sure Benny Ayure becomes vice president, and then if that is taken away from him, or if they are actually struggling to make that decision,
right,
that would be very unfair to Benny Ayure. In as much as I know Benny Ayure can't win anything, but if you know the man cannot do something, don't give him hope.
So in essence, Mr. Connor, you are saying,
yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that Joseph Numa Boakai, if he's going to run by himself, like the way they are forming a new whatever group they're trying to form, or if you're going to run by himself and the CPP remains CPP, then the best person to be Benny Ayure, Boakai's vice president will be Benny Ayure, because I think he has earned it.
Okay, so you think?
Who am I? It's up to them to make the decision. But Benny Ayure deserves to be the vice president for Boakai, because that's what Benny Ayure have suffered for. He has invested, including his son and everybody, even his daughter, everybody. They are fighting for Boakai because they believe Boakai is going to take Ayure to be the vice president. So,
in all honesty, we can sit and joke and laugh about some things, but we must be serious about the rejuvenation of the political ambition of Joseph Numa Boakai and the Unity Party. Not necessarily came from the CPP. It came from Benny Ayure, Costa, and others within the ALP. They invested. They were very pragmatic, if you want to put it that way. They were very strong in their support for JMB. They've always been. And up until now, as evidenced by that, the JMB quote unquote tag team is not even led by a Unity Party partisan. It's led by Taylor Ure. So that tells you how deeply these guys are rooted in the ambition of Joseph Yuma Boaka becoming president. I think, because Bernard Ure have not spoken about being vice president, but I believe also that it is a fair play. Until he turns it down, like Musa Bedede say, I don't want to be vice president. And, and openly state this thing. I believe it is the right thing to do for Bernard Ure to become vice president, because he has made some, like him or not, he has made enormous contribution and sacrifices to the JMB presidential ambition or campaign or whatever you want to term it as. And so if he's in a shadow where he's not seeing his way, or if he feels threatened by Senator Yomi Kanga Lawrence's presence with JMB, these are things that will call for, problem. Or even the new thing that they are doing now. Dr. Jeremiah Wapo, you got Professor Alare Tokba, you get even Emmanuel Gonkwe. All of these guys are signed up to this new DAL, Democratic Alliance of Liberia. All of these guys seem like they're,
so led by who now? Led by Joseph Yuma Boakai?
No, they're trying to play smart and say this is not for Joseph Yuma Boakai, but it doesn't make any sense.
So are they going to have a primary or any other way of we are going to be informed like this. So how are they intend to want to actually have the Senator elected? How are they going to get the Senator?
That is there now because the United Party and other people have said that this is solely any other alliance that Joseph Yuma Boakai goes into, he must be coronated as the Senator. He's not the mistake that they made in the CPP. They don't intend to repeat that mistake. So this corroborates your point that Vice President Joseph Yuma Boakai might more likely so not return to the CPP, because there he has to abide by the rules of competition, whether he likes it or not. There has to be competition. The rules has to be followed. He will not be elected as the Senate bearer. So this makes it difficult, Mr. Kane. It puts, like you said, the Unity Party in a very difficult situation. It puts, as opposed to the other party, Senator Yomi Kanga Lawrence has flu. She has that. She can move around. She can go to say she wants to support Joseph Yuma Boakai. Fine. But if she's coming back to her party, then I agree with you that the party will have to look at everything, look at the consideration. And I don't think the Liberty Party wants to come into any agreement again where the hopes are not clear, where, the benefit of the party is not clear. I don't think the Liberty Party want to do that. If the Liberty Party were to do that, then I have to question the leadership of the Liberty Party, Mr. Kane. I have to question them. Because
but they already have a big question mark. Right now, they have to work their way out of this to restore people's confidence in them. Don't say you question them. They already have a big question mark in terms of leadership. We said this over and over. That don't break your home no matter what. Come into an agreement. We have conversation with most of those people behind the scene.
Yeah.
Clearly, and we told them that no matter what happened, do not break your home for either Cummings or for Boakai. No. Let Liberty Party remain Liberty Party. Be negotiating from a position of strength. Whatever you want to do, you should remain strong, united. People will respect you. Right now, they lost that. By coming together to unite themselves, to make sure that people, they have to work very hard. They got to work very, very hard to restore people's confidence in them. That indeed they have a party. That yes, indeed, Yombele is the leader. Yes, indeed, Musa Bedede is the leader. They have to work their way out to make sure they restore people's confidence in them. Right now, there's a big question mark because they are yet to show leadership. Trust me. And by uniting themselves, that will be good for them. Whatever they do after that, that is up in the air. I don't know.
Okay. So that means the possibility of reuniting. the opposition in full, such as the United Party coming back, is still in limbo or still lingering, and more likely so it will be very difficult.
So the United Party will find no pleasure in seeing a united Liberty Party because that's not in their favor. Unity Party was only benefiting because of the divided Liberty Party. But when they are united, it's going to be tough for the Unity Party.
Okay. Okay.
Unless, let me say this again, unless there is an agreement wherein Musa Belete say, you know what, I care less about Komis anymore, and people who supporting Musa Belete and those people within their rank and file, whatever you call them, executive committee, say, you know what, let's have a memorandum of understanding with Boakai, that Boakai will give the Liberty Party the vice presidency. We have a chance of getting it from Boakai and Komis. And now that Musa Belete is saying, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, well, that could be another thing. Then that way Boakai will benefit. And that will speak to something bigger. That will speak to the leadership of Nyombli for being able to come back to her party, get her party support, get her constituents together, make herself more relevant, more in power, so that Boakai and other people can say, well, what we can get from this lady, we can get that from this guy. Benina Yure. Benina Yure has no constituents. Only has his son, Costa and Telia Yure. They got nobody. Compared to Nyombli, Nyombli, you know, she's a senator. She won twice. And her only problem is her party. If she can get her party together, that may somehow give her more leverage, depending if the people want to go. Because let me tell you something, Steve. Something's going on. ANC and ANC and the Mr. Ure and Mr. Komis and the ANC, their inability to reach an agreement with the Liberty Party was a huge mistake. If I was somebody advising Mr. Komis, I would have told him at the time, hey, make a decision. Either sign that MOU to accept whatever is in it, or come clean and say, you know what, we're not going to do this. We're going to move forward. You got to do one thing. We can't remain in the middle when critical decision had to be taken. So it could go either way. But whatever it is, trust me, whatever it is, if the Liberty Party remains in the CPP, they will contest for the presidency. I repeat, they will.
Okay, which is a good thing, to provide the opportunity for that democracy, for everybody to have the right. You know, no one's right should be stepped on, or no one should feel entitled. No one should feel like, you know, this thing, you know, or I think what we can do in La Bro, we can say dress right dress. And the other group moon and I own a time, and the other person, let the person wait for their time. That's ridiculous. That's why other people fought for democracy in the country. Wherein there were two party systems in our country. People fought that there should be democracy. So I think it is the right thing for there to be a competition, Mr. Kane. I think so. I think there should be a competition. I think people should make the case, reach out, and do what they need to do. I do think so. 100% think so. So let them go. But mind you, the CPP framework document also talks about the issue of consensus. If they can reach a consensus, then they wouldn't have to go down that route, for competition. Now, if they can't reach a consensus, like you said, then they would have to follow the CPP procedures and go through, which is a good thing. Mr. Kane, I know we have a couple more minutes. Let's spend the next maybe a few more minutes before we open the lines here. Let's spend the next few more minutes. I know the U.S. ambassador made some statements, which I will have to reserve for Saturday's show. But I want to focus on what's going on in the CDC, because we've talked about the opposition. We continue to talk about the opposition, which is the right thing to do to hold them accountable, all parties. But let's talk about the CDC. What's going on in the CDC? Yesterday we saw both Nathaniel McGill and Samuel Tuer, who are quote unquote now, or Samuel Tuer is serving as the president of the country, leaving the vice president there anyways. The vice president is still in the country. The president leaves. He gives instruction either Nathaniel McGill should be in charge of the country or Samuel Tuer should be in charge of the country. Given. But these two guys yesterday were booed and shamed on the LU campus by students that they're corrupt, and they sang a lot of different songs. Now, I was told this story by someone, and I don't know how true it is, that before Toba could die, or before Toba could be overthrown, students also did similar thing. They demonstrated. I'm not sure if it was the high school student, whoever it was. Students were in total opposition to him. Fast forward, similar thing from what I was told, and I stand to be corrected. Similar thing happened to Doe. Similar thing happened to Doe. So, what is going on in the CDC?
Well, I think even the blind people can see what is going on with the CDC. Even CDCians themselves. I spoke to some CDCians. They themselves, they know that the country is proceeding in the wrong direction. And the only reliance they had, like I told you, is they were praying for the opposition. That's their prayer. And they're not only praying, they're also making effort to make sure that the opposition remain divided. The fight continues within the opposition. That's the only hope for re-election. They are not doing anything to change the mindset of the Liberian people. They are not doing anything in terms of developmental agenda, in terms of changing the livelihood of the Liberian people. Sometimes we can say they corrupt and they are being jumping here and there, using the country money to their liking and what have you. But it has become abundantly clear that they do not know what they are doing. That's the problem. And the country people understand that. Like, sometimes it's not like they don't want to do certain things, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. In terms of leadership, in terms of governance, they are confused. They will pretend to know. They will pretend to know everything. They will pretend to act like everything is good, but they themselves, they know it's bad. So the students, like every other citizen in the country, they are feeling it. They are feeling the pain. They are saying the level of unemployment, the lack of government investing in private sectors. They are saying the government inability. Mama, you tell me, in a country wherein the people, they play with millions of dollars on a daily basis, but they could not afford to have a stable electricity at the airport. In what country have you seen that? It's not that the money is not there. That's a lack of leadership. Look at some of the appointments. How many times this government have appointed people in critical positions and end up withdrawing because they don't do their due diligence. They don't understand what is going on. They have no idea what to do. So the people understand that. The students understand that. That's why what you just saw, that's the small thing. Watch. The people themselves, before 2023, before next year, the way people used to gather when the president coming, they'll be cheering him. Very soon, they'll be booing the president himself. Because, we have said that whether or not Liberian people, when they will say enough is enough, we have said that over and over. They are listening. They are watching. When I say they are watching, they are listening, not just the SKTV, but the efforts from everybody, all the advocates, all Liberians across the globe that go and educate the Liberian people on a daily basis about their right to freedom of speech, their right to basic need of Liberians, the basic need for human being. Where in the world you see few people sending their children to school, to Western school, when they are sick and their family, they go to SI for medical treatment, but the rest of the people cannot even afford to go to the clinic right across the street. What kind of country you will see like that and you see people, they will remain silent? Trust me, Steve, if you talk to a lot of people, that's why people got angry so much to see the opposition going this way, especially to see people that they were hoping to change the country, people that they were hoping to come and be the alternative to this government, to see those people, same people, becoming regime collaborators. Like people like Boakai, allowing Serena Stiffer to use him as a toy. That's how people got disappointed. You can hate or like the opposition, but everybody in Liberia know a united opposition can crush the CDC. For people to allow themselves to be used as a toy by Serena Stiffer in this government. Can you imagine? In as much as these people, they are inept, they are incompetent, they are this, they are that, but yet they are smart enough to use people like Joseph Njuma Boakai to destroy the opposition. So it's a shame. So let me tell you, Steve, the opposition, if they want to unite, let them unite. If they don't want to unite, that's up to them. But the Liberian people, they are looking for leadership. They are looking for leadership. And that is not, we are not finding that yet, especially for those. You see, that's why when Yombly came out with that post talking about reconciliation, you can see how much Liberians are yearning, how much Liberians are eager to see a united opposition. You saw it. Sometimes you normally can post on Twitter, you will not see a lot of comment or stuff for it. But that particular thing, when you go and read it, you go and read the comments. Liberian people are yearning for a united opposition so that they can remove this incompetent government from their neck. But to see Boakai and other people allowing themselves to be used by these people, I don't know. So to tell you, Steve, the CDC government, not only that they are worried because they didn't do anything for the past year they've been in office, they haven't done anything that would make the Liberian people to say, you know what, these people, they deserve a second chance. They haven't done that. Their reliance was just on the division within the opposition. So if the opposition remains divided, they hope that they will win again. But they haven't done anything to tell Liberian people, say, okay, here are some of the things we are doing. See, imagine at this age, airplane cannot land because of electricity in a country. When people got light on their mother graves, people building luxurious houses on the grave of their parent, when the airport does not have electricity, you have light on the dead body. No disrespect. But human beings that are traveling, people that are traveling to Liberia, investors, people from the international communities, in life, they say first impression. Anybody that travels into a country, the first thing they can see, the very first impression is at the airport. But if the plane cannot land because of darkness at the airport, now one time, if it happens one time, that's understandable because we are a third world country. Imagine, Steve, you say you want to go in a country to invest, but going at the airport, they say the plane can't land because there's no electricity. Not one time, not two times. So, in short, the CDC, not only they, I said this before, when the vice president was asked, are you still going to run with this president? She said they will have a meeting. They will have something in 2022. She said from there they will make a decision. But majority of all, they don't know what she was talking about. So the news that came out saying that the coalition that they funded back in 2017 with NPP and the former speaker's Alex Taylor's party, that they agree that they go by the order of being the biggest party within the coalition. Since CDC was, I don't know how to call it, Congress for Democratic Change was the biggest. They gave them the presidency. Then they agree the following year, the second party will be, if they are able to, go for the second term, they will be carrying the second larger party, the second bigger party, which is the party of the vice president. And then if they do well, the following year they will carry somebody from the Alex Taylor's party. if that is the truth, if that is the agreement, something that they could not refute, because we asked some people within the CDC, they could not refute that argument. And if that stands to be true, guess what? Having a time we have said on this platform that Joe William may not run for 2023. How many times we have said it here? So that means if the CDC is going to feed any candidate for 2023 election, it's not going to be George Weah. It will be Joe Howard Taylor. And if Joe Weah decides, they say, no, he's going to run, that means you will have a divided CDC. No, you are muted.
So is this part of the reasons Joe Howard Taylor seemed muscled or pushed aside or overlooked and not given the due respect as vice president? In as much that, to be, let's be honest, I could care less. But at the end of the day, these are factual issues that we have to address, whether we support a certain person or not. So does it mean what Nathaniel McGill and other people are doing in Bond County to undermine Joe Howard Taylor by trying to, install themselves or make themselves look like kingmakers in Bond County, which they have been doing, investing a lot, trying to sway the people, trying to get the people on their side, as opposed to taking Joy Howard Taylor, who is the daughter of the sword? Does it mean this is the bigger plan to isolate and alienate her at all?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why Joe Howard Taylor did not support the CDC candidate.
Okay.
And the fight within the CDC, it has been done behind the scene. But lately, it's becoming apparent to the extent that, they wanted to isolate her a long time ago. And this was the fear. They went they went to the extent as far as dividing the NPP.
Yeah.
But she stood her ground. And with the support of Cyril Allen and other people who are deeply grounded in the NPP, she maintained her leverage within the coalition.
Okay.
So now they are doing everything to minimize her leverage in Bond County. But in the end, if their agreement stands as is right now, then Joe Howard Taylor should be the nominee for president. Not George Weah.
Well, per part of the agreement also, it expires sometimes, I think, in August or in September. I stand to be corrected. The CDC agreement, they have to renew that agreement with before the presidential election. And I think they did that strategically in order to decide finally how they want to foster their move forward. But either ways,
they didn't want to renew it. They want it to expire so it will be invalid.
Exactly.
So people can use it as a point of argument. But there is a ramification to that. You either renew it or you have a divided CDC. But again, 2023 will be very, 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 very juicy. It will be sweet.
Okay, wonderful. It will be sweet. Well, because of time, we want to give you time to to call in. What we will do, we'll open the lines. You have 1 minute. Please get to the point. We have to close up on time or in time today, please. We have to. So we'll open the line. We know
and before you open the line, let me say this.
Yes, please.
Somebody say my tea cup was too small. They wanted another tea out. They want to go Hatai. They want to go Hatai. They want stronger than tea. But it's not liquor. It's stronger than tea. This is what we drink. So I want to say hi to my brother over there, Steve Cromat. That guy, that's one of our strongest supporter. One of the biggest fan of SKTV, from Paris. Steve, I want to say hi to you. And those people who are saying that, oh, Senko is confused today, they are angry. I understand. Their anger is because I'm telling the truth. Anything that will somehow make them feel that JNB is losing it, somehow they'll get angry. No, this is not against JNB. We are speaking on issue as they present themselves. We are speaking on everything. And when it's not in your favor, doesn't mean I hate your candidate. No. It is clear you all saw JNB being carried around like a little toy by this corrupt-minded guy called Serena Sifa. If that doesn't hurt you, then you don't like JNB. Somebody do you think could be president of the country, and the person the man supposed to replace, using him, carrying him around like a toy? If you're not offended by that, then I don't know. You guys need to really think again. You should be offended to see the man who's supposed to replace George Weah in your mind being used by the same George Weah as chronic, as a toy, using him as a regime collaborator to destroy opposition. Then you won't be president? If you're not offended by that, then I don't know what you think. But I don't think that was a good thing. That's like degrading himself, allowing the man to be degraded. So anybody who is not offended by the fact that these guys are using JNB allowing himself to be used, then something is not right. So okay. Steve, you can open the line.
Wonderful. So please, guys, apart from the first caller, the rest of the caller would have 1 minute, please. No disrespect to anyone, but if you are exceeding your 1 minute, we'll have to remind you and move on to the next. And if you call me and I don't pick up, please, I will call you back. You can also call Sickle. The lines are open. We'll have the first caller.
Yeah. Let me add both. Let me add the other line there. So I'll add all the line.
Yeah, let me remove this one then. But I have a caller here for the first caller.
Okay. Leave that one there. It's okay. I'll add another.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Hey, this is the Honor Cover Sedition. How are you?
Yes, Honor Cover Sedition.
I get 20 seconds. Well, so I want to speak to something Sifu said about the new party that was formed when they were going to have the Senate burial.
Yes.
They have decided that they are not going to have a sustainable burial. They are only going to endorse a political party that will be running. So that's what they are going to do. Thank you.
Hold on.
Hold on, Ben.
Yes. So Ben is saying, per the DAL, the Democratic Alliance of Liberia, memo or mantra, whatever you want to term it, they are not going to have a stand-up burial. No, they don't intend to, but they intend to support a political party. Have they made known that political party?
So when do they intend to support a political party?
We already know that the formation was for Joseph Boakai. That's what it's going to be. But they're not going to have a stand-up burial. They're not going to have it.
So that means, Ben. So that means all the people, everything we've been saying before. We said on this platform that most of those people that calling themselves political party, I said they are not political party. They are a bunch of grave seekers who want to give some relevance so that anybody become president or any party emerges as the ruling party in the past, so they can have some leverage, so they too can have a position. That's why it seems to look like now to me.
Yeah.
And so Ben,
I got the ISA scoop 3 months ago when the guy came to America, and I had a show on it. So that whole thing leaked a long time. So they are going to endorse Waka.
But why are they scared? Why are they scared to just come together and support Bakai? Or they just want to betray the Labren? They want to mislead the Labren people?
Well, it was at the time when this whole CPP case issue was getting too tough, so they were using that as a backup China, just in case if this case gets stalled in the court, then they can revert to that. Then Waka will resign from his party and then held that Democratic ticket, which of course will be legal for him to do. So that is a backup plan that the party had. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for that information. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Thanks so much. All right. Well, Mr. Okane, we were also, like Ben said, we were also told from day one. We're also informed about this plan. As evidenced by that, this was part of the push for JMB to leave the CPP. That was part of the push, the urge, and the run for some. But then the question becomes now.
I see why my brother. I don't want to call you here. I see why my brother always coming up, in defense of JMB, because his party is also, a part of that. Because most of those guys I know, I can tell, even from some of the interview, you can tell some of those guys, they are not even presidential material. But they always want to be there, acting tough, that they want to be president, but they don't want to be president. They just want to be relevant so that somebody can look at them and give them position. Liberia. Who can we trust now? Oh my gosh.
So Mr. Okane, this is let me put the other numbers up. I think
I just put both up.
Okay, cool. So but Mr. Okane, this is very interesting. This is interesting.
But people I can see the missed call here. Maybe.
But I'm not getting it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's routed to you. I'm not getting those calls.
It routed to you, but if it doesn't go through, then the missed call comes here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but let's see what happens. So I put both numbers there now, so you can call either one of the number, and then we'll get it.
Yes, guys, we have a few more minutes to be here, but Mr. Okane, they set the stage. The Liberty Party, like we've always said on here, the way to the presidency in 2023 is through the Liberty Party, whether you like it or not.
From the opposition side, yeah, that's true.
From the opposition side, it's through the Liberty Party. Whether you like it or not, we'll give credit to where credit is due, and we'll say as it is.
What happened? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you the problem about that too, Steve. The Liberty Party either underestimated or did not know their own strength. They didn't know their own importance, the importance of Liberty Party. That's why they reduced themselves to the level that they did by making themselves irrelevant to the process. Liberty Party should have,
yes,
should have, throw in their heart for the presidency, and then let somebody come to them and say, you know what? Can you guys forget about the presidency? Just join me to be vice president. You don't have to fight. They will come beg you for it.
That was
no. Liberty Party is not ready.
I think I'm getting a call here. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please? Yeah, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
I've been calling for a while. My name is Isaac Tucker.
Isaac Tucker. What is your take, Isaac? Please.
Isaac Tucker. Now I'm from Minnesota, but my mother GMB strongman.
Yeah, let him make a kiss. Isaac, go ahead, please.
Yeah, you guys made some good selling. You guys made some good salient points, but
Let you stop listening to the monitor. Let you listen to your phone directly. That's
Yeah,
right.
Isaac, you got to listen to your phone directly and turn on the monitor because the feedback will confuse you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will
please.
make my case, but I just wanted to say that it is more than just Liberty Party being. I think even communists can stand a chance. Even Braga can stand a chance. It depends on the person.
My man.
Yeah, how the man phone acting like you, like Broso?
My man, stop listening to the monitor. He listening to the monitor and getting the feedback.
Yeah,
getting
information late.
My monitor was off completely. I'm not even listening to him.
Okay, please.
I was speaking, but you keep interrupting.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
You're not even on. The problem is for your end. Okay, what I was saying is, my man, No, my phone was on speaker.
You said we'll keep interrupting. We're not even hearing you.
My phone was on speaker. My point is this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever will win Liberia, it depends on how you sell yourself to the Liberian people, the programs you have, and not any political party.
Steve, we gotta take this call here. I think they may need a call back because we're not hearing him. His voice keep going in and out. We're not hearing him.
Anybody who side with whether coming or any party, it speaks to that person's strength. Okay? So whether you call me a Braga or whosoever, I don't think that's the key.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Kanye, go ahead, please.
We have a caller here. Caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is H. Johnson.
How you doing, sir?
All right, buddy. I just want to give my take on 2 points.
Go ahead.
One, I will start with the Liberty Party. I heard you saying Liberty Party does not know their value. No. They know their value. They know what they want. And that is exactly what they are doing. So giving support to a particular candidate does not make you to look like you don't know what you are doing. So their worth is true democracy, and that is what they are playing. 2, you talk about Joseph Boakai being used. No. Number 1, Joseph Boakai respected the law. He was subpoenaed. He attended the subpoena. Of course, the prosecutor of the Republic of Liberia, Serena Cephas, is the chief prosecutor. And of course, Joseph Boakai is just a witness. He's not being used. I just want to clarify that point so you can take it back. Thank you, Sekou. Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Thank you for your contribution, but taking it back, that one is I think that one is optional. And but you saying I can take it back, I don't even understand what that means. But first of all, when I say Liberty Party does not know her own value, they underestimated their own strength. That's why we get where we are right now. That's why they got divided. They divided themselves for no reason. And they didn't know their own worth. That's why they settle for little. If you don't understand that, that's on you. With regards to Boakai being used, how did we get here? Boakai contributed to where we are. Boakai contributed, and Boakai did nothing, showed no leadership under his Term. Who is that playing the radio down there? One second. I'm on the show. Thank you. Sorry. So, Boakai was the chairman of the CPP. Boakai, before his eyes, CPP was destroyed. He did nothing positively to resolve the issue within the CPP. In fact, he added insult to injury by inflating the situation. As a matter of fact, Boakai is being used every step of the way. You saw him when he was given the podium to speak, when he was given the paper to read, not being aware of what is in that paper, struggling to read it. And people that were using him came out and told the audience, imagine on such a big platform, making an announcement for a major party, from a ruling party, withdrawing from a coalition, verbally, at least verbally withdrawing from the coalition. Then the people using him saying, the man will just come and just read, and that's it, no question. That tells you that the man is being used. That tells you that the man does not know what he's reading. Because they don't want people to ask him a question from what he's reading, he will not have an answer for it. If you don't see that, that's up to you. But we can see, and we can read, we can analyze, and we can see things from, from our eyes, not just what you're telling us, but what we're saying. And based on the information available to us, when we speak facts. We're not going to say something that you will like or other people will like. But yes, indeed, every Unity Party, every Liberty Party really know their own value. They are yet to show that. If Liberty Party understand their own strength, they are yet to show that. So we will give them, we'll give them the opportunity. Go ahead, Steve.
Some people call you the guy in the nectar.
Yeah? Who got it?
Some people call you the guy in the nectar.
But I mean, we introduced decency to the talk show thing in Liberia. That's just a fact. We introduce decency, respect, maturity, and seriousness for being a talk show host in Liberia. We can say that anywhere, anytime. So, if you could come in in the net, I'll be very happy about that.
So Mr. Kane.
Yeah.
In as well that we're about to close now. Let me take this number down because we want 2 hours and change. We'll make the announcement. But I want to bring this question to you before we leave. I think you got a call, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but take that last call now so we can make it.
Hello?
Yes, Seko, I just want to just say something. You just,
So I think you listen to the monitor again.
Say that again.
You listen to your monitor. We are hearing it here. So tone down your monitor completely and listen to the show. I mean, listen to your phone.
Okay, all right. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You said the guy being used on the biggest platform, but I disagree again.
That's fine. Disagreement. I like disagreement. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Seko, you ever said we never agree on that. Because
That's okay.
Where we are in America, when Joe Biden is giving a speech, sometimes he come on the on the platform in the White House Garden and gave a speech. And then after giving the speech, and he just walked away without entertaining any question.
That's true. That's true. But now, listen. That is true. I agree with that. But now on major issue, every major issue, Joe Biden or any president in the United States or any high-profile people, when there's a major issue, they always take 1 or 2 questions. That's obvious. Major issue, as major issue, like for example.
For a long time.
But Jen, you could not even understand what you were reading, sir. But it's okay.
There's time for question. There's time to reject question.
Yeah, but on major issue, you answer question.
You know that. I know that. So what will you fabricate the thing on your platform?
No, I did not. I'm talking about what exactly happened before our eyes.
Anyway, Sekou, I'm sorry to say, if you follow the pay for play, because that is what you are doing right now.
What do you mean by that? I want you to explain.
Okay, because you are coming on this SKTV indirectly supporting a candidate that you do not want to call their name. But for us.
So no, you said pay for play. What do you mean by pay for play? I want you to explain.
Yeah, pay for
so I can address it.
You know what you are doing, whether you're receiving cash or nothing, but this is a pay for play.
How?
Denigrate another candidate for another candidate.
I'm not denigrating anybody for anybody.
Well, Sekou, you know what you're doing.
No, I am not. I mean, I say certain things. Listen,
I'm politics in Liberia from way back in the 70s. We did. We are the original founder of the Progressive Alliance of Liberia.
I know you. I know you. I think you must speak, right? You must can talk, right?
Yeah, you are.
So let me say this.
The vice president.
Let me say this. Let me say this to you.
That is what you are doing.
Okay, let me say this to you. In terms of pay to play, maybe there are people that can do that, but with Sekou Kene, with SKTV, we don't do that. Maybe whatever we're saying, you may not like it, or may not be. No. I kept you here. I want to have. Listen, I kept you on the line. I want to also have a decent conversation. But if you're not going to listen, then I will just turn you off, and then I will talk. But you can't interrupt me. You finish talking. I'm talking now. Okay, you talk. When you finish, I'll respond. Go ahead. I want you to talk, and when you finish, you give me a chance. Let me respond to you. Hello?
No, I'm listening to you.
Okay, please don't interrupt me. Just listen, okay?
I will listen, and then when I'm ready, don't talk.
Okay, I will not talk.
All right.
So, okay, well, then tune down your monitor a little bit so you can listen. So here's the thing. The idea of pay to play does not apply when it comes to SKTV. If we want to do pay to play, then by now we'll be supporting the CDC, because CDC is the one that can dish money out to people that don't even make sense. CDC is the one that can dish money to people that have no leverage, that can change a mind. We don't do pay to play. We do what we do for Liberia and Liberia only. Besides, all of us that are on here on SKTV, we are all working people. We are not a bunch of lazy people that don't work, that depend on people for handout, that depend on people to pay their rent, depend on people to buy stuff for them. We carry on this SKTV on our shoulder with no help from anybody. So we owe it to nobody to speak in your favor. If anybody contribute to SKTV, we appreciate you. We tell you thank you. But we are not here to support anybody based on money. When you speak to people on issue they like, they'll be happy. You are the hero, you are the giant of that day. But when you speak otherwise, specifically our candidate, they speak the truth about candidate that they support. They get angry, they call you names, and they attach all kind of things to you. But for me, when you see me smiling, it means that I'm not angry about all those name calling and allegations. But I owe it to the good people that come on the platform to tell you that we do not support people based on money. None of you, or none of the candidate, at least I'm yet to see that can really, give me anything that can change me. That's why I work. That's why Steve work. That's why Telco work. We are all independent people. We speak our mind. That's why we work very hard. By the way, I'm not rich, but I got my own business to take care of me and my family. So I don't need anybody from one cent for anybody to change my mind. That's why I speak the way I speak. I care less about what you have. As long as you go to Liberia and for Liberia, I will speak the fact. And if you're doing the wrong thing to Liberia, definitely I will not support you. I will tell you the truth. So, my brother, I will give you the opportunity 1 minute to speak. If you want to go to 2 minutes, that's fine, because we are about to close. But you got it wrong. We don't support anybody for money. Thank you. Go ahead. Now your line is open.
Okay, that is not a clarity. That's the fact that you support someone. You kept taking on one particular candidate, calling his name. But you have not come on this SKTV to give your take on the ongoing case that is before the court in Liberia involving Alexander Cummings and the ARP. Waka being a witness is not being used. He was subpoenaed. He did not take upon himself and walk to that court, oh, I want to be witness for ARP because I want Cummings to be disgraced. It was based upon the respect for the court that Joe Boakai proceeded to the Temple of Justice. 2, when we come to say what you got, yes, it's for yourself. What I have is for myself. And I'm not looking for government job like other people can do. Likewise you. All right? When we get back to Liberia, we'll only have people to build back the stuff that was being settled there, and we turn that thing back to the children. I don't want nothing from nobody. I'm all settled like you are. And so we should respect other people's candidate. But if someone is doing something wrong and you people continue to back that person up, Seko, I know you. I know who you support. It's not hating. From the way you talk, the entire Republic of Liberia around the world, we know that you support a particular candidate. We know that.
I want you to conclude. I want you to conclude. I don't want to cut you off.
We will not be using SKTV to politic on any particular candidate here in Liberia. We should stop those things. Be a balanced news media, and then we'll respect you. That's all I have to say.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much.
All right, then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, caller. Well, Mr. Okane,
We don't mind you disagree with us, you accuse or whatever you do, we still give you the platform to speak your mind. That's who we are. And Steve, to the brother, just one last thing he mentioned that we have never talked about the case here. That means he never been following the SKTV. He said we have never taken the time to address the case here. We have over and again addressed that case here. We said it was a bogus case. We said Benina Ure was, inserted into the CPP to destroy the CPP. We said the case against commies. If that's going to make me a communist supporter, that's on you. I always speak the truth. Here, when the CPP, the CO people were doing their protest, when communists and the ANC people came out and said it was that the people you said the president should come down, whatever they said, it was illegal, some blah, blah, blah. We came here, not only we came down very hard on communists, but on the ANC as a whole. So ANC people insulted me. They said a lot of things about me because we said the truth. So we don't really care about how you feel. If we say the truth about your candidate, you're angry, sorry. But the truth is the truth. We cannot replace the truth with anything else. And if we say the truth about your candidate and you are happy, we're happy with you. But guess what? We're not going to censor your opinion. We're not going to stop you from calling. When you call, even to tell us how you feel about us, we will open the line for you. What we will not do, we will not allow you to get away with misinformation. When you come here, you lie, we will set the record straight. It is incumbent upon us to tell the truth to the Liberian people. And that's why I and Steve, we don't have to support the same person. Telco and Steve, they don't have to support the same person. That's why we have the first opinion on this platform. We care less about who you support or who you like. But when it comes to Liberia, we speak truth to power. We care less about how you feel. Sorry, but that's who we are. Steve? Steve? Hello? Are you there?
I'm just sitting here wondering sometimes, but again, like you said, we move. Anybody has the right to think what they want to think and feel how they want to feel. It's okay. We come here, we do what we need to do, and we move on. You see us as ANC people, cool. You see our Liberty Party people, cool. CDC people, cool. Any way you want to see us, that's fine. We're here. Yeah. That's part of what we signed up for, and we'll do what we got to do. But let's make the announcements, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Look, I'm my own girl knowing all that. She just want to plow on, but that's fine. No, I will call you. You got to tell me. You guys are gonna talk. I need to talk to you about something. I will call you now. But anyways, there's a kind of
that's my own little sister there. So so if she can call me now, ANC platform, that one part will start behind the scene.
She had to pay fine. She knows to pay fine.
That's small fine. Plenty of fine she will pay. But you know, if I want to turn, she will say, "Well, you know that politics." So.
But let's
so that's okay.
I want to make the announcements really quick. Tomorrow we'll be on mental health and wellness. Tomorrow is Friday. We are resuming. We have a guest. Last week we had a guest. Tomorrow we do have another guest. Degan T. Her name is Degan T. She will be our guest for tomorrow. Come, let's talk. And we'll talk about why people don't leave abusive relationships. We'll talk about some of these things and other things. We want to leave it out here. We don't want to go into detail about what we say, but we want to give you the gist. Come, let's talk tomorrow. Mental health and wellness, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 Central Standard Time or Minnesota time, however you want to term it. Come on, the notice will be on. Follow SKTV for all of our notices. On Saturday, we'll resume. We did not talk about the U.S. ambassador's statement and how they're keeping track of the CDC-led government, how they're investing the money. Saturdays, we'll talk about it. On Saturday, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about that statement.
And we might have a guest.
Yes,
because if the Liberty Party meeting or conference on Friday tomorrow happen, we might have either Musability or Yombly on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday we're playing host to Ako, the chairman.
Ako chairman, Ansu Dole.
Ako chairman. But follow us on SKTV, and the announcements will be there on our page. Thank you so much for sticking with us today. Thank you. As the weekend starts, stay out of trouble. And Mr. Kana will have a wedding this weekend in Arizona. So me and Mr. Kana will be dancing again. Mr. Kana, I'm standing the wedding. But Mr. Kana is showing off for the after party or the reception. What we want to come to.
I will, even the time you stay in the party, I will kind of just be taking your picture. I will come just be taking your picture.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's.
You got to be ready.
We are starting. Yes.
So again, on Sunday, ACO, the All Liberian Coalition Party, ACO chairman Ansel Dole will be our guest. You know what it is. You know ACO people, they know what they did the last time. Just one time when they came out, people get confused. So people think the boy coming to the presidency. So Ansel Dole will come here, we'll talk about ACO. He will tell us exactly what ACO is thinking, what's on their mind, and it's going to be loaded. Trust me, because we have a lot of questions. I don't even think we ask all the questions. But again, if you have a question, feel free to send your question to us. You see? Send the question to us. We will definitely ask your question. We may not ask all of the questions, but we will try our best. But again, Steve, it was good to be here. It was good being here. I really enjoyed the conversation. But you know what? We didn't even talk about half of the thing I wanted to talk about. So on Saturday, we'll continue. If I'll be happy, whatever happens tomorrow, we'll try by all means to bring Musa Belete or Nyomli, one of them, on Saturday. We'll try. They are all friends. They are all friends, so we'll try.
As you're already aware, I've always been leaning towards the Liberty Party. We'll see after everything whether I'm still leaning.
So you leaning Liberty Party? Me,
I was leaning towards that cassette, but what that cassette is basically for all that. It's so funny.
The way looking at, I want to, because people talking about money business too much, and they didn't get money. The CDC get money. I can't start leaning CDC now because the CDC can give money to people. Send the people also take money now. Me, I can't start leaning CDC. Or maybe I'll call Kumi the thing say, "Mama, people say we're leaning your way also, and we're not seeing anything yet. So let people do something." But anyway, we don't do money, man. We deal with facts, and we care less about our detractors. That's why we are SKTV, man. That's how we got here. Come on now. You'll be nice for a second. You'll be grateful to us. We have been very consistent in what we do, regardless of the victims or the perpetrators. Respect SKTV. Okay?
Well, let's have a good weekend. Enjoyment. Thank you.
You don't even know my story. You don't even know your story. Oh yeah, you know, on the day, I be a local. So moral. You post your new car on Facebook. But that's so la la. You working butter. Loving and acting jealous, say you photo. My advice for you, in my way, I got to confess. Confession. You gotta confess. You must have the impression. Enjoyment. Got your blessing. Enjoyment. No more stressing. Enjoyment. Got your blessing. Enjoyment. No more